So you're interested in investing in Pokemon and you're wondering, where do I start? What do I do first? What do I have to take into consideration? I don't even know how much I should spend or not spend.
I don't know what I'm doing.
And so we're going to try to help you walk through some of these fundamentals today. And a lot of the advice that we're going to be providing here is, again, my personal experience, but you do have to take in your own opinions. This doesn't work for everybody. Obviously, it depends in many, many variables of your life. And so you do want to take a step back and never listen to just me or to just any one person. Always get multiple opinions and make sure that you're trying to make the best decision for you. Don't let others or the market or emotions influence anything when it comes to finances. Try to make that as concrete and factual as possible and remove any type of emotion or influence from that process. That's the best advice I can probably give, so we can stop there. I'm kidding.
That isn't funny. Yes, it is!
So let's break this into 4 steps to start with. The first step is going to be simply having a budget. It sounds simplistic, but the reality is most of us don't actually maintain a budget.
I don't believe you for 1 second.
And even if we created a budget, we don't follow it. So then the budget does no good.
Perhaps you're right.
If you don't have a budget, you don't understand how to save money. You need to know what your fixed costs are and what your variable costs are. So fixed cost is going to be something that's consistent every single month. Let's say, for example, your rent or your mortgage, whereas a variable cost would be something like groceries. You still need it. You need to spend the money, but one month it may be $500, a different month it may be $800. It just depends. So you want to understand these numbers because you can't necessarily understand where your finances are currently flowing if you don't know this. So create yourself a budget. Getting a budget started is something very simple, and all you really have to do is open up whatever your office platform of choice is, Microsoft, Google, or Apple, and open up their respective version of Excel. Start a new document and look at their templates, and if you type in the word budget in the templates, it's going to give you plenty of options to create your own budget with the easy to follow template.
Wow. That's amazing.
Get your expenses in order. And then what you should have left over is, how much money do I have to spend? Okay. Once you know your expenses, then you know obviously what you have to spend on other things that you may want to do. And in this case, we're talking about investment in Pokemon. Now, the next point, once you have your budget and you understand your numbers, it's going to be diversification. What does diversification mean? That simply means you want to have your money in more than one place so that if something goes wrong in one of those areas, you don't lose everything. Don't spend your entire savings on Pokemon, or don't put your entire savings in on one company with stock. If that company goes under, you could lose everything.
Wait, are you serious?
So diversification helps protect your investments so that you can have it distributed across different domains, and that helps protect you if anything happens in one of those domains. So then you need to decide what's left from your budget that you can spend on your investments so that you can distribute and diversify where you put that money. Let's just take an example and let's assume that you already have your 401k with your company that you work with, and you already have some stocks and a Roth IRA going. And so those are already set up and they're working automatically, and that's great. So leave those alone. You don't touch it. Let's assume in a very simplistic example that you might have $2,000 left in your extra income. So you've paid all your bills, you paid your fixed and your variable cost, and you have $2,000 left. You obviously don't want to spend all that $2,000 on Pokemon.
Sure, why not? Unless, yes, I mean, whatever. It's all good, unless it's bad.
You want to take a percentage of this, because if it's all the money you have left from your income, then you need to look at things you might want to do, like a vacation or going on a family trip or buying something for the house. So you do want to have that as well and make sure you keep that money aside. So it's still going to be a percentage of what's left over. And so let's take that simple example of $2,000 and then say you have 10% of that. 10% of your leftover funds is what you want to allocate to Pokemon. So that'll give you about $200 left. And so what you can then look at is, now with $200 every month, I'm going to invest that in Pokemon. So now you're on to point number 3, which is, what do you invest in? Okay. Now within here, I've already said it before, and I'll repeat it again. I think, my personal opinion is that the sealed product around booster boxes is probably the safest and most sure bet within all of the Pokemon card spaces. You can talk about individual cards. You can talk about even graded cards. You could talk about collection boxes and ultra premium boxes. All those do have their own perspective. And while they do have, I think, some very positive use cases, I think they're a lot more volatile, especially around the single card market and the graded card market, than anything else. I think your best and safest bet will always be a booster box, or better yet, a booster case. Okay.
What?
Now, why do I think that, and what's the justification to my thought process? And that is a booster case can be broken down to meet the market demand and price point, right? Let's say, for example, in comparison, you have a graded card of a first edition Charizard, which I wish I had, by the way. I don't. So if you had a graded Charizard card, let's say that was worth $20,000, and then you have $20,000 of booster box cases, which one would be easier to liquidate? And liquidate, I mean sell and make your cash or your money from. Well, in the graded card, somebody has to want that specific card and pay that specific amount of money. And if they do not want what you're offering, they simply don't buy it. So if the card is not right or the price point is not right, they will not buy your graded card. Period.
That was disrespectful.
And so the market has to drive what is desirable. And of course, we're always taking the assumption in this whole discussion that Pokemon is still a desirable product in the market.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Now, if you turn your view to a booster box case, you can say, well, if the case is maybe not what the market wants or the price point is too high, I can crack the case and sell booster boxes individually because there's 6 booster boxes in a case.
Trust me. It's going to make sense in a minute.
Okay, so then now you have product number 2. And product number 2 maybe is a better price point. So you move from somewhere around, let's just call it $1,200 per booster box case. And if you broke that up and you have 6 boxes, you have $200 per booster box. So now you went from a $1,200 price point, which people may not be willing to pay in financial hardships, but now you have a $200 price point for the same product that's sealed from Pokemon. And they will feel much better about buying a $200 product versus a $1,200 product. So then you can really jump the price point for a same desirable product. Now, what if $200 is not enough on product version number 2? You can break it down even further. You can crack the booster box and then sell packs. There's 36 packs in a booster box, and if you break that down from the $200 per booster box, you get about $5 and some change, $5.50 per pack. Now that's a much lower price point, and then again, you reach a whole new audience of people who maybe still want the product, but they couldn't pay $1,200. They really still wanted the product, but they couldn't pay $200. But now you're bringing the price point down to $550. And then that's product number 3. So you can crack down your product to create multiple versions of a product. You cannot make a graded card into multiple products. It is a single product and they have to want it at that price point or they don't.
all of a sudden things started to make sense.
Here you can at least say if this product is desirable, you can break that product down into then multiple products. And then of course, last but not least, and I really highly recommend to never do this, break it down, the pack that is, into individual cards and sell the cards. I don't think that's a good investment strategy. I think it's a terrible investment strategy. And quite honestly, I would never break down a booster box to sell packs. There's a whole concept around pack weighing, and they could weigh the packs to see which ones have the better hits, and things become very questionable very quickly. Unless you have just a lot of trust, you lose the interest of the public that are interested in your products the moment you go beyond a sealed booster box, because at least the booster case and the booster box are sealed by Pokemon. And you can't really weigh either one of those to then try to manipulate what somebody gets.
Oh, thank God.
I do recommend staying with a booster box or a booster box case if you can, but if you had to, and the market was willing to pay it, you could break one product into 4 products. And that's why I say a booster box case is really your best investment. And you want that sealed from Pokemon directly if you can, but obviously any trusted seller that you've already vetted out or that has a good reputation then would be the source that I would recommend. So now that we know how to build a budget, we then know we should diversify our investments across many domains. And then lastly, we've selected a given product range. The biggest question we have next is, but what set? Which is why you should watch this next video right here, and we'll dive into how to analyze the sets that are available and what might be the most profitable in the future.